Us.
I called it from day one. I said the trophy is coming back home. It don't matter who bring it back. And it just so happens that this year Tech has retained their title. Though they have to share it, South is love, we love.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. It is Friday, the 7th day of February 2025, and we're coming to you live from the Port Mall in Tobago. I am Adana Kumbi, and this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it.
Good morning, and my name is Akinlabi Holder. It's good to be here with you again today at the end of the work week. Friday already, Adana?
That's right, we're already at the end of the first working week in February. Can you imagine how the year is running down? Before you joined us, we were talking about sometimes people say that January is the longest month of the year.
Yes.
And I find as if this year, January just flew by.
You find so?
Yes, it flew by. We're already in February. Before you know it, we're at the end of the first quarter of 2025.
I find January was still slow. I find January can learn some lessons from February.
Well, let's see what would happen next January. But for me, I felt as if, it wasn't as the type of struggle that people would experience in the past. I too have experienced that struggle. I didn't feel it this January. And now here we are, by next week, we'll be halfway through February, so the year is running down. And I hope people who have set their plans and their goals in motion that you are sticking to what you want to do and what you want to get done. Remember, the word on set here is consistency, so you have to remain consistent. We do have a lovely show lined up for you this morning, but before we get into those conversations, we head on over to the news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Adana. Here is your news in 90 seconds for Friday, February 7, 2025. Yesterday, police discovered the beheaded body of a man near Damien's Bay in Blanchisseuse. The victim, who appears to be an individual from Tobago of African descent, was found with his hands bound behind his back and his head severed, placed beside him on the sand. He was wearing only a three-quarter denim pants. The police have not yet identified the victim or established a motive for the killing. Investigations are ongoing as police work to determine the circumstances surrounding the gruesome crime. Up next, former state pathologist Yvonne Devines will receive over $163,000 in compensation from the state for non-payment of his gratuity between 2016 and 2019. High Court Judge Westmin James ruled in Devines' favor, rejecting the state's argument that he was ineligible due to the lack of a formal contract. Devines had continued working under an interim agreement after his previous contract ended. The compensation includes interest with an additional $38,108.20 in legal costs. A 42-day stay was granted before payment. And finally, according to Sports TT, the fourth phase of renovations at Dwight York Stadium in Tobago is expected to be completed by March. The stadium, closed since December 24th, is undergoing plumbing, pavilion, changing room, and air condition repairs managed by UID Cut. An international track specialist will assess the athletic track before scheduled upgrades. Despite renovations, approved events and training sessions continue. Further upgrades, including electrical work, elevator replacement, and scoreboard improvements, are planned for 2025. Sports apologized for disruptions, but emphasized the importance of enhancing the facility for athletes and supporters. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Biana, for our news there in 90 seconds. And to your top story, how unfortunate to be hearing that news coming in yesterday evening there about the beheading of a young man there in Trinidad. And you know, we're in the early days of 2025,
Yes.
and there's cause for concern, of course, and especially as we are in a couple things. We're still in an SOE,
Yes.
and we also still dealing with the situation of the public confidence, public trust in the TTPS. So there are so many things happening surrounding that particular issue and issues of crime, as it were, right now. And these are the things we want to hear about right now, because we want to bring some kind of resolution, some kind of solution to the ongoing situation internally, so that we can be confident once again that our spaces are well managed, that the resources are being, used optimally.
Yes.
Because we don't want a situation where we're wondering, I wonder if it is because we kind of struggling with the resources right now, things are happening on the outside. So I'm hoping that, of course, TTPS, I know you can't be everywhere all the time, you can't detect everything all the time, but we have a concern where you are concerned, because you have shown that there are issues on the inside. So we're gonna still keep that conversation going until we get some measure of satisfaction. But the primary thing is ensuring that crime is reduced in Trinidad and Tobago, and people can feel safe again to walk the nation's roads.
Yes.
Right? Akinlebi, what are your thoughts this morning?
Still talking about the crime situation, I think of particular concern is the rising levels of criminality among the young people in Tobago in particular. And I think that is something we really need to look at, and we really need to nip in the bud, because if we let it run away, it may become too much for us to handle. Even the TTPS, even if they fix all the issues, if we let the crime situation, particularly in Tobago, run away, it could become too much for us to handle. And I really hope that as a society, as a Tobagonian society, we come together and we really start to focus on our young men and hold our young men to account and really watch over them to really bring this thing under control.
And that's where all the other agencies are called into action. I know the TTPS, they do their community policing, they have the police youth clubs, and they have different programs and initiatives where they go into communities. But this also is a call for community activity groups and all the other stakeholders who are involved in ensuring that they provide an opportunity for young people.
Yes.
Whether it is an activity group, a sporting group, whether it is entrepreneurship training, whether it is mentorship, whatever it is, we all have a responsibility. Remember, they used to say it takes a village to raise a child. We want that village to come back together so we can raise our children to be upstanding citizens in society today, tomorrow, and for an eternity. That's where I stand where that is concerned, and I will always lend my support to young people. Once they have an idea, once they have a dream and they have the drive, I will push behind them and encourage others to do the same as well.
Yes.
But I want to ask a question this morning in terms of providing all these resources for the young people and stuff. Is it a situation where we have everything here, you have it at your fingertips, and now the choice or the buck stops with the individual? Do you want to really participate probably in playing football or cricket or even playing pan, so having all these activities, yes, provided for the young people. Does the buck stops with just providing or making sure that they are part of these extracurricular activities?
I think it's just not providing, but also mentoring and really molding and shaping the mindsets of the young people. And I think that's where we started to fall short as an island. We stopped the mentoring and the molding of the minds of our young people. So now they're very susceptible to all types of influences.
And the other thing too is we have stopped being our neighbor's keeper, where we used to know the neighbor, we used to have relationship with the neighbor, the child could go over by the neighbor and play and feel safe. We have become a little bit selfish. Can I say that? And so we have not had that type of community relationship with each other. So even though we provide those opportunities, the children or the young people might not be inclined totally, because we don't have that spirit of togetherness, that spirit of community. So we're hoping that that can come back in our communities across Tobago to ensure that we provide a space. And you know, there are some homes that also need the type of social support that is necessary to encourage them to get their young people to participate in what is happening, as it were, where initiatives are concerned. But you know, I want to switch gears a little bit this morning. We know that the TTP had their screening yesterday. I think it was TPP. What did I say? Forgive me. TPP had their screening yesterday and the day before, and we were hoping to get some updates. Well, we're still hanging on there. We're hoping that, you know, by the time we get back here on Monday or even before, if you stay connected to our social media pages, we'll be able to update you as to what is happening where that is concerned. So we wait with bated breath to see what is happening there. Thank you, Bianna, so much for joining us on set this morning and bringing the news in 90 seconds. And I do hope you have a wonderful weekend, and remember to remain consistent.
Same to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the morning where we celebrate with those who are celebrating. It's time for our birthday shout-outs. And this morning, we want to say happy birthday to our first birthday celebrant this morning. This is the lovely Stacey Isles. Stacey Isles is celebrating today, and we want to say happy birthday to you, Stacey. We do hope that you have an absolutely amazing and wonderful birthday today. We hope you enjoy the weekend, and we hope that you are spoiled rotten, if that is possible at all today. So happy birthday to you. Up next, we have the lovely Alicia James. Alicia James is also celebrating a birthday, and happy birthday greetings are extended to you today. We do hope you have a lovely, lovely, wonderful birthday. You know, we have a lot of birthdays to celebrate today, and we move on to Melanie Sandy. Melanie Sandy is also celebrating. Now, Melanie is such a beautiful, beautiful person inside and out. Always smiling, always willing to assist, always willing to provide advice. And she has a green thumb. Yes, just in case you're wondering if you want to get your seedlings, Melanie is the girl to check. So happy birthday to you, Melanie, and I hope you have a wonderful birthday weekend this weekend. Lisa Allen Blackman. Lisa Allen Blackman, my friend, my good friend. I want to say happy birthday to you, my darling. I do hope that you have a wonderful birthday today. I pray God's blessings upon your life, and I do hope that your birthday is beautiful, just as beautiful as you are. Next is Jessel Peters. Do you know this guy? Jessel is also celebrating a birthday today. And Jessel, we say happy birthday to you. Wherever you are on the planet today, we say happy birthday to you. We do hope you have a wonderful birthday and that you experience the love that comes with celebrating a birthday today. So happy birthday to you. This one is a belated birthday. I don't know how it slipped me yesterday. Miss Pulwati Bipat celebrated her birthday. She is the president of the Hindu Society here in Tobago, and she's lovingly known as Tanti Pearls. Tanti Pearls, happy belated birthday to you. I know that you had a wonderful birthday yesterday, and I hope you continue to enjoy the birthday celebrations. And I do hope that God continues to bless you and you continue to be the amazing person that you are. So happy belated birthday to you. And staying in the B-Path family, Govinda Ramlogan, his birthday is tomorrow. He is known as Tobago Chana. He is celebrating his birthday tomorrow, and we say happy birthday in advance to you, Govinda. We do pray God's blessings upon your life. Have an amazing, amazing birthday. And finally, this is a special birthday. This is Miss Cynthia Wills. Cynthia Wills is celebrating a birthday today, and special birthday greetings are coming to her from her children, Leslie-Ann, Llewellyn, and Nadine, and all of her grandchildren and great-grandchildren, wishing her all the best on her day and continued blessings from the Almighty God with all their love to you, Miss Cynthia. So we do hope you have a wonderful, wonderful birthday today as well. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are celebrating a birthday, an anniversary, whatever you are celebrating, we do hope that you have a wonderful celebration. We join with you and we remind you to put God first. Invite him in your celebration, because he is the sole reason why there's even anything to celebrate. All right, you might be wondering, it is Friday morning. Who are we going to be speaking with today? We're going to have conversations this morning as we celebrate Children's Mental Health Week, which is from February 3rd to the 9th. And so we have conversations this morning with Tennille Graham. She's a child psychologist, and April Thomas, a registered behavioral technician. As we go through the conversation this morning, we do hope that you could stay with us. There are some things that we need to discuss, things that we could probably try to figure out how to detect behaviors in children so that we could provide that measure of support for them in this troubling world. And of course, it's Friday, so Mr. Cricket Marcus Daniel will be in studio today, and he'll be talking to you about all things sports. So you want to be a part of that conversation. You don't want to go anywhere this morning. We do hope that those of you who are viewing on our Facebook live stream, on our YouTube channel, AMPLIA 102, Floor 121 or 130, that you help us to continue. Share the live. Share the live. Share the live. We'll be right back.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Spring. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules, or if you are having a cooking day off. Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. We begin conversations this morning in studio, and we speak with Miss Tennille Graham, child psychologist, and April Thomas, a registered behavioral technician. And it's Children's Mental Health Week, but I'm being advised that it isn't even recognized internationally just yet. And so we're going to be talking about that and the importance of raising awareness where that is concerned. Good morning and welcome.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having us.
I like that. Hi, good morning. It's just so childlike and so innocent, and I suppose it's fitting, especially for your area of profession.
Yes.
So we're talking now about Child Mental Health Week, or the importance of recognizing that a child also needs some support with mental health issues. And you know, we were talking of offset, and I'm thinking that as an adult, as a grown person, there's so many things that we have challenges with that we can't even figure out on our own. I can't figure out everything on my own. There are things I'm still struggling with that I need support with. So I want us to go through why is it important for us to focus that same type of effort into a child who might be going through something and need that measure of support.
Yes. A lot of times I feel as though we don't, or we take children for granted. We just believe that they're there, they just have to go to school, play their sports, and they have everything. Once they have food on the table, a roof over their head, then they're good. But children are human. They have feelings, they have emotions, they're going through things that we won't always see. So, you know, it's very good for us as adults to recognize that and support them through whatever it is that they're going through. Where we tend as adults just naturally to be passive with them and to disregard what they're going through. I think it's important to recognize, yes, as I said before, that they are humans, that they will have challenges in their life, even though to us it may seem minor.
And you know, it's for me, I feel as if communicating with a child with their issues is more difficult than with an adult, because where an adult, this is just I'm no expert in this industry, but I'm just thinking, where an adult is able to articulate what their issues might be, or they might be able to think where it might stem from. So it will give the psychologist an idea as to how do I structure the type of support you would need. How do you, in your practice, how do you assess, or what do you look for when speaking with a child or communicating with a child to determine, okay, so this is the area I need to zero in on?
I think with children, you just have to get them comfortable. That's the first thing. Once you get them comfortable, they'll be able to open up and articulate themselves. So you have to pair it with parent interviews also. You ask the parent, like, if you see any changes in the child's behavior recently, if they're having issues sleeping or eating, or if they're still socializing as they used to. And then you speak to the children and you use different techniques. Tennille can help me on this. And you know, you use different play techniques to help them get comfortable and get them to open up about their feelings.
And what are some of the type of well, you said, you know, playing and stuff like that, but what are some of the other techniques you would employ, especially for the younger age group who definitely cannot, you know, say, well, I feel sad, or I feel unhappy, or I feel angry sometimes? How do you get them to that place?
Well,
where
in my practice, I work with children who are mostly under the age of 5. And there are different toys. So I have this toy, it's a little pineapple, and there are different parts to make faces to show how you feel and to teach them, like, okay, this is sad and this is happy. And then there are books that you can use also. And the books show different examples about, okay, when this sort of thing happen, that makes me sad, that makes me happy. And there's also pictures you can have for them, just like little pictures, so that they can see happy face, sad face, whatever. And you can say, okay, so how do you feel? Point out for me, what are you feeling right now? You can also use drawings, you know, ask them to make pictures of what is going on in your life right now. When there's certain things happen, how does it make you feel, or, you know, certain things like that.
I think it's, in our field, I think it's important to become creative to help with children. And Some may disagree, but for me, I always found it easier to work with children. To
Me
I always find that children seem or tend to be more honest,
That's
in my
true.
opinion. Once they come in, once they're comfortable with you, you give them good energy, it's usually reciprocated, and they're like, yeah, well, this is happening.
Yes, 100%.
So you'll get that from even children, like she said, as young as 5, as 6, 4, and they will say, I don't like when mommy or daddy do this. I don't like when my teacher do this. So
Yeah.
and they open up quite comfortably.
Yeah, because with adults, we tend to be a little bit more guarded.
Yes.
We want to be private, and we don't want
Yeah.
to let all the cats out of the bags.
And hold on to the
Precisely.
social.
That's
yeah,
right. The
perception
social.
and-
That's right. So I see where you're coming from
Yeah.
with that. And it is very, very important in terms of parents. I know it's a private practice that you're operating, but in terms of parents identifying that my child needs support and they bring them to you, how is that measured in terms of, do you think that there are enough people paying attention to the behaviors and the needs of their children and bringing them even for an assessment to go into a program?
I do believe that parents are paying attention to the children, not all, most. I think COVID, funny enough, had a lot of benefits with that. So children were at home with their parents more. So where I was telling my brother recently, I had a case where people said, don't you feel as though over COVID a lot more children were getting diagnosed with this, that, and the other? I said it's because they were spending a lot more time at home with the parents. So the parents were observing the behaviors, realizing that, okay, well, this doesn't seem like typical child behavior, or they seem more withdrawn or more hyper. So maybe it's best I speak to somebody who's a professional. And yeah, that's what tends to happen.
My thing is, family is the foundation, the cornerstone of any society. So being able to identify, and not just identify, but invest in the time and to ensure that the child has that measure of support. When you communicate with a child, let's say they come to your practice and you identify whatever they might need support in, how do you find that you can't be in school with them, but a report must come back to you. How do you find they integrate in the school setting, learning the tools and the skills, the keys that you implement when you have communication with them?
Well, for me, I mostly work with children who are on the spectrum, right? And their behavior sometimes is affected by their delays. So, like, they would have delays in communication, they might have delays in fine motor skills. So we teach them, we help them develop these skills. And most times, once they develop their skills, they'll be able to say, well, mommy, I want this or I want that. And then we have to generalize it to home and in school. So we kind of try to equip the parents with the tools to practice the things that we do in therapy at home. And then, well, the teachers would say, okay, well, this one, since they are able to say what they want or what they need, their behavior has changed. So that's how it is.
And, I'm sitting here having this conversation with the both of you. And as I mentioned, when we did the introduction, you said, hi. I could feel that you actually enjoy what you do. And this is a personal question. What was that thing that, caused you to decide, you know what? I want to do psychology, but not just psychology. I want to focus on the child. What was the thing that made you think that this was a good idea and that you could add value in this industry?
I always worked with children. I always say, even when I was a child, I was working with children. And then I started volunteering with an organization called Autism Tobago I studied in Barbados and I worked with the Autism Association of Barbados, and they were working with a lot of children, and that piqued my interest. And I came to Tobago, worked with Autism Tobago, and then from there, I really wanted to work with children more and more, and the passion just grew. So I figured a lot of persons focus, especially psychologists, focus on adults and even teens, but nobody's looking out for the children to help prevent them from getting to the stage that teenagers, may deal with those issues. So if we could prevent it earlier, why not?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And well, my answer is a little more personal, but for me, growing up, your family have issues, and during that time, I didn't always feel like my voice was being heard. So at a very young age, I decided that I wanted to be able to help other children who may be going through the same kind of issues.
And you see, that is very important. So once you can identify the thing that sparks your interest, then you're able to give of yourself. And now you provide this type of service. You guys provide this type of service to children. So talk us through whether it's your practice or clinic. I'm not sure what it's called, so please forgive me. Talk us through your practice and how persons can contact you, how they can identify when it is time to bring a child to get assessed and all these types of things.
Okay, so the name of our organization is called Imaginable Life. It is a practice. You can contact us at 463-0716, or you could just look us up on Facebook or Instagram. You could message us. Any information that you need, we hopefully can answer or could assist with. Yeah, we're very comfortable in talking to anybody who comes forward and, just need some support. So the type of behaviors parents tend to notice when they think that they need extra support is if they see any withdrawals in typical behavior, certain delays, they feel as though their child isn't progressing as a typical child would, maybe self-harming, suicidal talks, suicidal thoughts, anything else that I'm missing, April?
Well, I would particularly with children with autism. So, as she said, delays in development. If they're not speaking as well as they should be, if they're not writing as well as they should be, if their behavior, like they're crying too much or anything like that. And I know that the clinics in Tobago do a good job at letting parents know, like, okay, well, mom, your child isn't developing as they should be. Mom or dad not developing as well as they should be. So maybe you should take them to see someone.
And I want to ask, I'm looking at your brochure here, and it's so fun and easy. It's not too much information. There's no information overload, straight to the point. And it's clear, it's easy to understand. And at the back of it, it has commonly asked questions, which a few people would want to ask. And I'll ask them on behalf of you this morning, so you get the information and the clarity. The first question, will my information be shared?
So no. We take our confidentiality very, very seriously. And like I tell parents, we care for you, you'll get updates, but you are not my priority. The child is my priority. The child is my client. So whatever they say to me will not be shared unless it is with harm. So if I find out the child is harming themselves, planning to harm someone else, or someone is harming that child, then of course I will break confidentiality. But aside from that, no, everything that we do is strictly confidential.
And that is very, very important. You need to have that trust, that level of trust.
Exactly.
The next question, I am under 18. Do I need my parents' permission?
Yes, you definitely do need your parents' permission to come and access our services. We think it's important to not only just get the support from your parents, but also this is still a health matter. And we would need that signature from mommy or daddy or your auntie, granny, whoever.
Right.
Yeah.
And the final question, how many sessions do I need? And I like this question particularly because also in my practice, I'm a communication specialist. I also get the same question. How many sessions do I need? And I know the answer for this, so let's go.
We can't say that for you. We can't decide that for you. There are times I've had one session with a child and there was a breakthrough. And then there are children I've had continuously 10 plus sessions and, we're slowly making progress. So it depends on the child. It depends on the situation. I'm more focused on counseling while April focuses on ABA. So she may need a lot more than one if she wants to see behavioral change with her clients. Yeah.
Tell me what ABA stands for.
ABA stands for Applied Behavior Analysis, and it's a type of behavior therapy for children. It's very play-based. Yeah.
Right. I enjoyed having this conversation with you guys this morning. I felt the energy, and, I really do hope that parents, guardians, whoever is responsible for children, especially obviously 18 and under, that you pay attention to your child's behavior, pay attention to their needs, and of course have them assessed just in case they might need that extra measure of support. If even it's just one session that they might find some measure of breakthrough, let us support them. You too as parents need assistance. And when I was reading the brochure, I saw it says guardians need help with parenting or improving relationships. So it might might be important as well for you to ensure that your child is cared for in that type of way. Sometimes you are unable to meet all of their needs, and so the professionals are there at Imaginable Life for the best version of you. Thank you, ladies, so much for coming on this morning and sharing that information with us and bringing the awareness that children also need that type of support where mental health is concerned.
Yeah, thanks,
ladies,
thank you.
Of course, a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, we spoke this morning with Miss Tennille Graham and Miss April Thomas as we spoke about Child Mental Health Awareness Week, which is not yet internationally acknowledged, but we will acknowledge it here this morning on set. Before we go to a break, we have one more birthday that we must celebrate today. Yes, there's one more birthday on our rundown, and we want to say happy birthday to Mrs. Bernadette Pinky Allam, celebrating her 80th birthday today. Much love from Lois Leslie and Jackie Dillon. She is indeed royal. Of course, tutor, Tobago's icon of 2024, past principal, teacher, playwright, and dramatist. And she has been a mother and friend to many, many over the years. So we say happy birthday to you, and we do pray that God continues to bless you. But you guys know that before we go to the break, we have to talk about Tobago back in the day. Can you guess what this is, where this is, and what this is about? The break, I hope. You guys know how it happens sometimes on live television. So we're waiting for Tobago back in the day. In the meantime, guys, guess who's in studio? Guess who is in studio because it's Friday? Mr. Cricket, Marcus Daniel, is here in studio, and he's going to be talking you through all things sports happening here in Tobago for the weekend and beyond. So you want to stay tuned for all that is happening as well. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. If we don't get the back in the day for you, well, perhaps we will get it when we come back from the break. But in the meantime, we have to go for a quick break, and we invite you to help us share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 GB fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
Love, soca, zest, and steam. Thursday, 13 February, the night before Valentine's Day. Fellas, come out with me. Ladies, you and your team to experience one of TNT's most requested artists, Young Brother.
She said, take it easy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up
Young Brother live at Village Vibes Bar, Mason Hall.
I wanna wine on your bumper, I know you like steam.
Young Brother live for an uncut, up-close performance.
You make it jump and you make it jump.
Alongside DJ Hottie, Ish and Selector Father, MC Sticks, King Legal, Busy and DJ Fusion. Early bird tickets, 3 ladies on 1 ticket, $450. Single, $200. Available at Pablo's Supermarket, Argyle, Royal Castle Outlet, Scarborough, Ramabar, Joefield Junction, Mongrace, Crown Point Gas Station, and Village Vibes Bar. Call 750-6258 888 or 686-0898 for one night only. The King of Steam, Young Brother Live, the night before Valentine at Village Vibes Bar, Mason Hall. It's not what I make the pot.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Springs. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Hey viewers, welcome back to the Tobago Updates television morning show. Thank you so much for staying tuned to Tobago's best. Yes, it's Friday, 7th February. Yes, we are into February already in the second month of 2025. We're now into the sporting segment. And of course, as we do it, usually we talk about all that's happening in sport right here in Tobago, of course, nationally and internationally. Today, we're going to talk to Ako George, head coach of the Sidis FC team. We're talking about the Trinidad and Tobago Football League Tier 2, where we have 3 Tobago teams competing, Bethel United, Camby Mount Pleasant, and of course, Sidis FC. And this morning, we're going to talk to Ako George about their decision and how they are going so far participating in Tier 2. We have Ako virtually this morning, a fireman by trade, and of course, he couldn't make it in studio, but gave his time to still talk about how they have been going so far in Tier 2. Good morning, Ako.
Hi, morning, Marcus. Morning to you.
Fantastic. Ako, I'm sure most of Tobago not aware that we have 3 teams competing in the Trinidad and Tobago Football League Tier 2 tournament. I saw you guys on social media doing your thing in terms of trying to, sensitize the public about your participation there. Just tell me about, the reason for you guys joining the Tier 2 and how has it been thus far?
Well, our reasoning is to allow of the island to have an opportunity to play football at a higher level. We started this initiative back in 2022, where we were initially unsuccessful with our application process. We had like a 3-day window to gather a lot of documents and put a lot of things in place, and we weren't successful because we didn't have the time to get this stuff. However, they told us that in 2025 there will be a new opening to that day when they will start to open up the window for clubs to participate. So it's now 2025, and we did the process again. We recently got the acceptance. That is around the 4th or the 5th of January. I must say thanks to Miss Lara, who did a wonderful job in walking us through the process, having us get the CONCACAF license and everything in place to allow us to participate. The tournament so far is going really well. I must say that it's a new challenge for the sides and the players upon our side of the island. And I've seen the team grow from game 1 to game 3, even though the results aren't what we would have liked. I actually see progress in terms of play and in terms of how we go about approaching matches and the players' response and these things. So I'm really happy with what we or where we are right now.
Yeah, and tell me about those results. How many matches you played so far?
We played 3 matches. Unfortunately, we lost all by 1 goal margin.
1 goal.
Yeah, 1 goal margin. What I must say in those matches, I felt that we were the better team. I felt that we went out and imposed our will on the team that we played. We played against Bethel and Tobago team. Ironic. We played against Malabar and UTT. Malabar and UTT are at the top of the table. Haven't lost a game as yet.
Right.
So we did go out, impose our will on the team. Unfortunately, goals win matches, and if you don't take your chances, you put yourself in a hole to win matches.
And who do you guys play next? When and where?
Well, we play Prisons at Speyside tomorrow. Actually, that's at 4 p.m. I encourage everyone to come out and support the guys up here, man.
Yeah, and how have you found the transition in terms of I'm trying to compare the Tobago League because of course you guys are multiple champions of the Tobago Football League, and you mentioned earlier that the challenge is different to Tobago League. What's the difference there between the Tier 2 and the Tobago Football Association League?
The difference really is opportunity in terms of if you the game is now who could make the least mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And what we found in the games that we played so far is the mistakes that we made that might have gone unpunished in the TFA.
Yes.
The other teams are capitalizing on it. So we just need to take out those small errors, and I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, and tell me about the structure of your team. Is it that players who are also participating in the Tobago Football Association League can also participate at the Tier 2 and vice versa in that sense, or do you have to have two different teams?
Well, we have to get two different teams. Unfortunately, players can participate in the TFA League and Tier 2 at the same time.
Oh.
So what we did, because it was something that we wanted to do, we actually took preemptive steps to get ourselves ready for this moment. So we registered a lot of guys earlier in the season, and everybody was thinking that, hey, why is Saidis registering 40 men? Right? Because we foresee this opportunity. So when the chance came for us to participate, all we did was take half of the guys that we think that could give us the best chance to succeed without weakening the Tobago team. We took 20 guys to Trinidad. We also made a couple transfers. We took 2 guys from Charlottesville. We took 2 guys from Lakers as well. And we took a guy from Camby Mount Pleasant. However, I wouldn't say we took guys from Camby Mount Pleasant or Lakers. Those are the prodigal sons that returned home.
Yeah. And what those prodigal sons?
Like Kyle Davidson and Renil Stewart.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
those are the prodigal sons that returned home. There you go ahead.
Yeah, and in terms, so because I was just about to ask if the makeup of the team only Tobago-based players, or have you also shopped in Trinidad?
Yeah, only Tobago-based players. As I said in the beginning, what Saidis want to do is to create an avenue for local-based players to just play football at a high level, especially the younger guys. Too many times we lose our youth players to the teams in the lower or the west. We lose our talent to the teams on the west because they are the ones that go in and give them the opportunity to play at a high level. So we wanted to say, hey, you don't need to go down there again, enough. Yeah, come right to your side and take the opportunity, same opportunity.
That's fantastic. And in terms of motivation, I mean, I know that some of the guys there are seeing Jariel Arthur, Adriel George getting to make their senior team debut and stuff. Is that motivation for your players? Or is it that you guys are contributing in terms of a stipend for the players?
Well, what we do, I wouldn't say stipend. We try to incentivize the players. We're going to lead into that, but we try to incentivize the players. And I hope that the selection of Adriel and Jariel will motivate the guys to let them know, hey, that is my peer and that is my fellow Tobagonian, and if they can do it, I can do it also.
Yeah, fantastic.
What I will say is that initially the guys weren't as sharp mentally for what was to come.
Understood.
And as the time progressed, I saw a change, not only on the pitch, but in mentality as well. Because a lot of times, Marcus,
Yeah.
we go to Trinidad, we carry teams to Trinidad. I know you part of this, and we feel inferior to the teams in Trinidad. I don't know what it is, but we do feel it inferior. And what it does, it makes us lose the game before the game even starts. Right?
True.
So that is the mental shackle that we have to break, and we are trying our best to do that at Sides to make sure that hey, we can compete, and in most cases we are even better than the teams. It's just that we need to be able to believe that before the word go, and don't wait until the game is over to say, hey, we were better than that team,
Yeah, man.
So that is the mental shackle that we have to break first.
Fantastic. And as we wrap, Aku, I always like to highlight management because organizing a team, especially for you guys, you are the head coach and you are a fire officer by trade. It must be difficult to give up your time. You're also a family man. So I like to, if you have the moment now to highlight your management and your social media person as well. Social media person as well. Good in ensuring that you keep the public informed about your results and your upcoming games and stuff. So just before we wrap, let's just run me through your management.
Well, we have a decent, well, I want to say decent, a large management team. You mentioned social media, mentioned other stuff. I can't go into name because I will go over the time. But I would really like to highlight Atasha Felix. She's been excellent. Earl Grey, excellent. Also want to make up my officers and the in charges of the Roxborough Station and the Tobago Division on a whole to facilitate me being a fireman by trade.
Yeah.
So I must say thanks to allow me to impart my knowledge on youth in the part of Tobago. So thanks to everyone. As I said, I can't go name by name because I will go over the time.
Yeah.
But I want to say thanks to everybody.
Fantastic. Do you have a sponsor? You have a sponsor?
No, we don't have a sponsor. So anybody in Tobago, Trinidad, and the world that want to come on board with Sides Sports Club is a fantastic club, a picturesque village in Speyside. We embody the largest brain coral in the Western Hemisphere. we just want a partner to that matches the vision of Sides Sports Club in terms of youth development through sports and other recreational activities. So if there's anybody out there that want to come on board, Sides Sports Club have no problem getting that.
Fantastic. Ako, gotta leave it there this morning. I want to thank you so much for taking time off and of course sharing all the good news about Sides FC. I've seen the development of the Sides team. I know that you are a very astute coach. And those 3 defeats by 1-0 margins, you're already planning for your game tomorrow. And I'm sure that you're going to have a better result on tomorrow. I want to wish you guys all the best in the league, in Trinidad there, and of course also here in Tobago. And I do hope that we have more players like Jari Alatan and Adriel George coming out of Tobago representing the national team with a national coach out of Tobago. So thank you so much, Ako. All right, so viewers, we've been chatting there with Ako George, head coach of Sides FC, currently competing in the Trinidad and Tobago Football League Tier 2. And of course, we have 2 other teams there, Bethel United and Carmi Monk Pleasant. We're going to hear from them probably next week once the producer gives that opportunity. Guys, I'm going to leave it there this morning for you. But don't forget, we have the volleyball, primary schools volleyball happening today. The tournament's happening today. We have 24 primary schools competing down there at the Colon Beach facility. Starting at 10 a.m. It's free. Over 60 matches. Get down there and support the youngsters. We're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to have Akin Nabi talking to a good friend of mine, Shaka. But don't forget to share the live, share the live, share the live.
from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, and we are going to discussing the Scarborough Secondary School Alumni Business Grant. That's right, the Scarborough Secondary School Alumni Business Grant was formerly called the SSS Alumni Scholarship, and they changed it over to the Business Grant last year. And we will be in studio with us today. We have Miss Sharifa Ramsey. She's the owner of Shaq's Nail and Day Spa, and she's the very first recipient of the SSS Alumni Business Grant. Good morning and welcome, Miss Ramsey.
Good morning, and thank you for having me this morning.
Okay, so Miss Ramsey, tell us, how did you learn about this business grant?
During the time of the Scarborough said capture the flag, they sent out an ad on the Facebook page, the SSS Alumni Facebook page, saying they are transitioning from the scholarship to the grant. So I did some inquiries, and they told me just to send in a proposal to the email of the Scarborough Sec alumni, and I did just that.
Okay, and were there any other qualifications for you to win this grant?
Yeah, you had to show proof of your registration of business, and also you have to show proof that you were at the Capture the Flag event last year.
Okay, and I know they had a panel of very qualified persons doing interviews for the business grant.
Yeah.
What was that experience like going through that panel interview?
It was relaxing. I didn't really have much fear of anything. I just went there and spoke from my heart. Few questions they asked, and just prayed and asked God that I receive it.
Okay, and just tell us a little bit about your business, Shaq's Nail and Day Spa, where it's located, what it's about, how long it's been in operation for.
Shaq's Nails and Day Spa is a business that really I started off as a nail technician, part-time nail technician. Then I expanded and got qualified in other services. Seeing I do facials, body massages. I also teach. I am a educator for a US brand, Cuccio. And from there, I just expanded from years go by. Each year, I ensure that I have something extra for my clients.
Okay, and how long you said you were in business operations for?
Average of 15 years or more.
15 years? Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll have to book something with you one of these days. So tell us, this business grant, right? How do you see this grant really transforming your business and taking your business to the next level?
Right, so as I explained to them on the panel, my aim for Tobago especially is for us to have a supply store, because we struggle with getting products in Tobago. Normally, we as Tobagonians will go to Trinidad and we'll buy everything we need. And when in Tobago, you may want something else, and then you still have to look for it. So that was the aim of applying for the grant, to help with that aspect.
Okay, so once you receive this grant, we could expect to see a storefront or virtually?
Yes, I am working on that. Well, it has already started up, because I've already started selling products. So it's there, it's just to expand on it more.
Okay, and has this business grant been your only sort of interaction with the SSS alumni? Have you had any relationship with them previous or anything like that?
Yeah, I have been sponsoring certain stuff for them during the time of the Scarborough Sec Capture the Flag. I actually offer services, and I give vouchers once they call and ask. Once it's possible, I give. So, and also I attended Scarborough Sec. I'm a graduate of 2001.
Okay, all right, okay. So, for other members of the alumni who may have small businesses, micro enterprises, and they're really looking for that boost, would you recommend them applying to the SSS?
Yes, apply and have faith. And once you go through the interview and you are successful, you are going to achieve what you want.
Okay, well, Ladies and gentlemen, viewers, you heard it from Miss Ramsey herself, the SSS Alumni Business Grant. Thank you very much for being here with us in studio today. Before we go, ladies and gentlemen, viewers, we have our picture of the day. Before the picture of the day, sorry, we have guess the location. And waiting for them to bring it up. Yes, and can you guess this location? I'll give you a hint. It is in Scarborough.
Castry Street, connected to Burnett Street.
And that's right, Miss Ramsey. It's at Castry Street, the bottom of Castry Street. As you make that right-hand turn to go up towards Burnett Hill, you could see there those posters on the wall of where used to be the Tobago Festivals Commission and Tongue and Country Planning, those sorts of...
Electoral inspection.
Yes, the inspectorate. So that's your guess the image of the day. And we don't seem to have a photo of the day. Oh yes, here it is, a photo of the day. And this was sent in by... This is a photo of Plymouth.
Yeah.
And it was sent in courtesy Xavi Roberts. Courtesy Xavi Roberts, excellent drone footage there of Plymouth, I believe it is. So that's all we have for you today on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We wish you all have an excellent weekend, a God-filled weekend. Be safe on the roads. Be safe in everything that you do. Up next, we have GMT with Natalie Seeley Richardson. So stay tuned. Don't move that dial. And do as we always ask, share the live, share the live, share the live. See you on Monday.
I think with this facility having been down for about 10 years or somewhere thereabout, I think it's an excellent initiative and that it was recommissioned. I was talking to one of the other educators here and he said that it was a very good program for the students, especially at the CSEC level. You know, so I think it's an excellent initiative and I'm very proud of the present administration for working so feverishly and assiduously to get it back up and running.
Yes, I am very excited about the reopen of the Kendall Aquatic Facility. I hope to come and learn to swim properly.
I'm very excited about the reopening and I hope to come and take swimming lessons.
The problem we had was that the leak, the facility had a leak and caused the major shutdown. So now that it is back, all the programs you see happening in the west will be in the east and even more. Because while it was down, we were planning how we're going to do a lot of things. So it is. So what you see down in the west.
Being an even more robust and inclusive program so that we can ensure by a defined date all of Tobago's students and young people can actually swim. You should not live on an island and not be able to swim. And with what we are seeing in terms of climate changes, what we are seeing in terms of the battle with the sea on our coasts, all of our young people from as early as possible should learn to swim.
This pool belongs to you. It is a space for your families to bond, for your communities to gather, and for individuals to focus on their health.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Welcome. You are viewing GMT this morning. I am Natalie Seeley Richardson, and as we say, it's Good Morning Tobago. And yes, it's Friday, and we start our news off in 90 seconds. On Thursday, police discovered the beheaded body of a man near Damien's Bay in Blanchisseuse. The victim, who appears to be an individual from Tobago and of African descent, was found with his hands bound behind his back and his severed head placed beside the body on the sand. Police have not yet identified the victim or established a motive for the killing. Investigations are ongoing as police work to determine the circumstances surrounding this gruesome crime. Former state pathologist Yvonne Devines will receive over $163,000 in compensation from the state for the non-payment of his gratuity between 2016 and 2019. High Court Judge Westman James ruled in Devines' favor, rejecting the state's argument that he was ineligible due to the lack of a formal contract. Devines had continued working under an interim arrangement after his previous contract ended. The compensation includes interest with an additional sum of money in legal cost. A 42-day stay was granted before payment. According to Sport TT, the fourth phase of renovations at the Dwight York Stadium in Tobago is expected to be completed by March. The stadium closed since December 2024 and is undergoing plumbing, pavilion, changing room, and air conditioning repairs. Managed by Udicot. An international track specialist will assist the athletic track before scheduled upgrades. Despite renovations, approved events and the training sessions continue at the venue. Further upgrades, including electrical work, elevator replacement, and scoreboard improvements, are planned for 2025. Sport TT apologized for disruptions, but emphasized the importance of enhancing this facility for athletes and supporters. And that was your news in 90 seconds. Joining me this morning is a very special guest. You know, we have been doing the series for this entire week, and Chanel has been interviewing individuals, and the series, of course, Beyond the Headlines. On Monday, we began with Member of Parliament, Minister Ayanna Webster Roy. We continued with the Minority Leader of the Tobago House of Assembly, Mr. Kelvin Morris. And then we moved to Senator Lawrence Hislop, followed by Councillor Petal Benoit. This morning, we continue discussions, and we have Member of Parliament and Minister, of course, Shamfa Kujul-Lewis. Good morning.
Good morning, Natalie. Good morning, Tobago. It's a privilege to be here. Thank you for having me.
And thank you, of course, for taking time to spend with us, chat with us. And as we continue discussing Beyond the Headlines, we want to delve right into your portfolio as Member of Parliament. When we talk about a Member of Parliament, there are certain expectations that we, the public, would like to see, met. But you sitting in that seat and you have been for about 10 years, if I'm correct, right? Tell our viewers, tell me, what are some of your aspirations as you continue as Member of Parliament for Tobago West?
Okay, so I've been a member in the Parliament for a little over 14 years. I entered the Parliament in opposition as a senator, and then I was elected in 2015. The role in opposition and in the Senate is much different from when you're in government. In the Senate, you get to pretty much debate, you get to talk when you're in opposition, but when you're in government, when you're in leadership, it's your time to move, to act. And over the years, we've accomplished much. Being a member of the cabinet and a member of parliament for Tobago West. Now, interestingly, I like to say I reside on the and.
Yes.
So there are responsibilities of the ministry primarily at the headquarters in Trinidad, and of course the constituency office in Tobago. My role as an MP and as a minister is to bring services available to residents of Trinidad, also to Tobago through the central government. So it's not only about what I offer through my Ministry of Sport and Community Development, whether it's the Prime Minister's Best Village Trophy competition, whether it's programs through Sport TT, I Choose Sport, Empower TT, you name it. What I've made sure over the years is no matter where I sit in whichever ministry, because I've served in Ministry of Tourism and the Ministry of Youth before serving as Minister of Sport and Community Development, it's always about making sure that Tobagonians have access to the services offered by the ministry and the support, the grants and so on. And not only within my ministry, but also in other ministries like Ministry of Agriculture, what the Self-Help Program is offering, all the other ministries of the central government. Whilst in Tobago, the responsibility of the Secretary of the Assemblyman is set out in the Tobago House of Assembly Act, and they're pretty much responsible for the day-to-day running and management of Tobago. My business as an MP is to serve them from a parliamentary level and putting them in contact with what central government has to offer.
And when we talk about the constituency of Tobago West, define that area for us in terms of where does it start, where does it end? Some of the villages, yes, the geographic.
We're from roughly Rockley Vale traffic light, all the way behind the boundaries, somewhere around Crooks River, and comes all the way to Crown Point. So all the villages, all the areas from Scarborough to Crown Point, and Tobago East is the other side.
Right, and we do have viewers who may be looking at us for the first time, or maybe even hearing about Mrs. Shamfa Kajol-Lewis for the very first time. How do you explain to maybe someone who doesn't understand, and I would ask it this way because you have shared your passion for what you do, who doesn't understand, where does that passion stem from? Because you mentioned you entered Parliament on the opposition as a senator. I know you have been involved in youth, in different agencies, institutions. So where does that passion to be an advocate for the people come from?
I think I've always been a servant of people. I've always been a servant leader. I started from very young in Scarborough Secondary School with the Royal Bank Young Leaders program. And from that, when I was in about 5th or 6th form in high school in Compre, I was a part of the student body. And then I was a part of the YES, which was a youth environment group. Then I think my passion really came from working to re-establish the Tobago Youth Council. At that time, the Youth Council had been dormant for many years, and a group of us, through the division of youth under the Tobago House of Assembly, youth leaders across the island were called to a retreat at Madden House in John Dial, Mount St. George area. And we set on a journey to rebuild or reestablish the Tobago Youth Council and be that voice for youth. And I think my passion really, really kicked off then, because I always want to be a voice, a vehicle to promote development for young people, to promote development for people. And I think from there, the rest is history. I moved from being a youth leader to being called to I served as CARICOM Youth Ambassador. I served as UN Youth Ambassador. And I was called to the Senate in 2010 to actually be a voice for youth and to represent the People's National Movement and the people of Tobago in the Parliament. And after my first stint in opposition in the Senate, I was elected into office. I think I get my drive from and my passion and the the energy to get up and keep going. Like I was doing recordings for Carifta last night up to 10 o'clock to get up to take to be at the airport for something to take the early flight here. I think I'm driven mostly by utilizing the opportunity, the energy, and to apply resources to make a change in people's life. Seeing how the policies and the programs you have developed, created, even conceptualized and implemented, change and transform people's lives, empowering them to go out there and be their best selves. I think that is what keeps me going. It's a hectic job. It's a stressful job. No politicians on any side of the divide would tell you that it is easy. People think it's a luxurious job, but really and truly, you run yourself. You run your body. You're constantly thinking, talking, working, doing something for somebody. And I think what gives me fulfillment and why this job is rewarding is seeing how you can lift others and help them to accomplish their goals and their aspirations.
And you mentioned
worthwhile.
You mentioned, the conceptualizing programs, initiatives, policies. If you can share maybe just about 2 with us, programs that you may have conceptualized that when you see it implemented, you see the results, you feel very proud that this came from you.
Yes. From as early as Ministry of Tourism, we have programs that I wouldn't say conceptualized, but we had helped to revive and give some life to. For instance, the tourism accommodation upgrade program that was only available to Trinidad hoteliers at the time, and now it's also extended to Tobago. We have also gotten to the point where the Tobago House of Assembly is actually responsible for running the top in Tobago. We have the State to Getaway program, Lime 365. Those are projects from my days in tourism, but I think I really got the true got down to work in the Ministry of Youth, where we conceptualized and developed and implemented programs like 40 Under 40, where we bring young people in contact with people under the age of 40 to help them to change the narrative, to show to young people that you don't have to if you didn't get 5 subjects in school, it's not the end of the world.
Definitely.
Everybody's born with some kind of talent, some sort of resource that you can use to get ahead. So it provided a platform for them to learn from each other, conceptualize and develop Empower TT, where we work with unemployed men, setting them on a new track, a new direction in their lives, giving them the opportunity to be mentored by other men and to get some work experience and assist them in career development. We have the Boss Lady project already also conceptualized, developed and implemented. That one was a pilot project and we are going to run it again in this year. You have Pink Rain campaign, because as a woman in sport, I felt that it was necessary to do a specific project that promotes women and girls in sport and encourage women to stay in sport, even when you're no longer an athlete. Try to get to leadership levels, provide opportunities for other women, and leave the door open so that they can rise. Also, there's so many different projects. I Choose Sport. I think I'm most excited about I Choose Sport, which is one of the most recent projects conceptualized, developed, and implemented also under my watch. And it's about strengthening sport in schools and giving a solid structure so that everybody has access to sport and everybody can afford sport, long-term athlete development and plans for improvement and success of the athlete and the sporting fraternity, and partnering with national governing bodies to expose our youngsters to sport from an early age towards finding more skilled athletes, developing skilled athletes, and helping Trinidad and Tobago to truly maximize the full potential of sport. It's not only about winning medals, but also about unifying people, helping youngsters to develop discipline and networking skills and so on. So these are the things that make me excited about the work I do as it relates to the ministry. Now, from the area of the constituency, one thing I've done is stayed on the ground, stayed walking. I became an MP in 2015, and from January 2016, we started a program of walking the constituency where I walk at least once a month. So while I have field officers out there every single weekday, I walk one time a month. And even if it's 2 streets I'm able to cover, it's about constantly feeling the pulse and getting feedback from the people.
And how important is that to you? Because you have a very heavy schedule.
I think if it weren't for the constituency and their support, I wouldn't be a minister. So that is most important to me, making sure I touch base, making sure I keep in contact, making sure I work on behalf of constituents to the point that in addition to my weekly meetings on Tuesdays with my constituents, there are those who wouldn't make it to the office. So we go out and we meet them. We also do roving public days where we partner with private sector and other entities of the state to bring the services, like you took up the services and into the community center. So you don't have to come to town to the office to see the MP or to access the services of the MP. And we do town hall meetings, not as often as before, because at one point in time we had challenges accessing community centers. You probably would have heard about that last year. So, and I think COVID also changed the game for us too, where we use social media much more and the internet much more than we would have in doing in-person public meetings and so on. But it's all about keeping in touch. I do school visits, visiting students, hearing what the little constituents have to say. I think that excites me most because they dream so big and they have all these goals and these aspirations. It's limitless. When we were young, we were worried about our parents not having the money to send us to university. So you had to be careful how you dream, you know. But now these youngsters, they know that the sky is the limit. They dream big, and it's about encouraging them to chase those dreams relentlessly and putting things in place so that their dreams can be realized.
In executing your responsibilities, do you think as a member of parliament, and I may not speak to you specifically, but just in general, those who hold the responsibilities of a minister and member of parliament, do you think that being a minister interferes with you delivering to your constituency as a member of parliament?
No, I think it helps. It helps because in order to sit on the table where the decisions are made, you have to be a minister, not just a minister, a cabinet minister. And to the point that even though Ayana was not a cabinet minister, she's not at that level as it relates to salary. She sits at the cabinet every single week because that is where the decisions are made. That is where you get to hear this. That is where you get to research. That is where you get to influence the decisions being made. I'm not only a member of the cabinet, I'm a member of the Finance and General Purposes Committee, which is a subcommittee that does the deeper research and the questioning and helping the cabinet to get to a final decisions on the more difficult matters. So I hear a lot of crazy talk trying to sway the people's minds that the members of parliament from Tobago East and West, they go down to Trinidad, and because they're so absorbed with their party and so absorbed with their ministerial portfolios, they don't have time to Tobago. Hogwash. Utter foolery. Because being a member of the cabinet, you get to influence the decisions pretty much firsthand. And in addition to that, being a minister of government, it raises your profile and it allows you to utilize the your positioning and even make sure that the services of your ministry and other ministries are extended to Tobago, even in areas that are not traditionally under the Tobago, under your responsibility. Let's say, for instance, sport development in Tobago and community development in Tobago is under the Tobago House of Assembly. But when Tobagoans reach out to me for support in grants, for support in hosting their activities and building their programs, we help because I'm in a position to help. And anywhere, any day I'm in a position to help Tobagonians, you bet your bottom dollar I will. So I think being a member of the cabinet as a minister and being a minister of sport and community development helps me to expand my reach in bringing more services and certainty in making sure that those services are delivered to the people who reach out to me for help.
Right. And as you mentioned that, I know that we have been hearing that fishermen have been, appealing for help to fill out their forms, etc., in terms of receiving compensation from the oil spill. And, the conversation happening in the public space is that maybe the Member of Parliament for East and West, their offices can maybe assist these fishermen in helping them fill out their forms. Do you think that's a role that should be played?
Now, Natalie, I recognize a very clever attempt to change the narrative as it relates to this whole compensation or relief to the fisher folk. We have a Tobago House of Assembly with a division of agriculture. And the Division of Agriculture has a fisheries department, I'm sure, that's responsible for the development and the welfare and the hand-holding of the fisher folk. Yes? And I'm wondering what's going on in that division? What's going on with the Division of Agriculture? Have they been meeting with the fisher folk? Have they been helping fisher folk to navigate this whole scenario as it relates to, I wouldn't say compensation, but relief? You would recall last year, around the months of April and May, the Chief Secretary and the Tobago House of Assembly had been in the public domain talking about the need to get relief funds from at the mid-year exercise to provide relief to the fisher folk because they were most affected. And then in June, the support came in the amount of $50 million to assist the Assembly with providing support to those fisher folk. As recent as this morning, I read a news article on from the 25th of May in Newsday last year, where the Chief Secretary was saying, we're reaching out for these funds, and when these funds come, we're going to provide relief to the fisher folk. So the thing is, what did the Tobago House of Assembly do with the $50 million it received? And if you did not provide some type of relief to fisher folk, then who did you pay? Can you show the fisher folk? Can you show the people of Tobago exactly how you spent their $50 million? Because if these persons, the grassroots people who don't have food or bread coming from any other way, need help based on this oil spill matter, then it's the business of the Tobago House of Assembly to provide some relief. Now, last year, Ministry of Energy, Stuart Young, the minister, went out to the UK and engaged the IOPC, and that's an incredible move, an awesome move. It would help to bring relief and some type of recompensation to the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, a part of that would be compensation to fisher folk. And I would like to believe that the Tobago House of Assembly, with its responsibility for the development and the welfare of our fisher folk, would play an instrumental role in helping these fisher folk fill out their forms and navigate the system. And I see, even as members of Parliament, nothing stops us from also providing that support, because in my constituency office, we have something called Forms Day, where we encourage people to come in and we assist them in filling out their forms. Of course, the IOPC would have a specific way in which they'd want things done. I think nothing prevents the Tobago House of Assembly from receiving that type of training so that they could supply the support to their fisher folks. What I can do in my constituency office with my limited staff, I'm sure would be a drop in the bucket, but also would help. But you see those fisheries officers and that fisheries department of the Tobago House of Assembly with specific responsibility for the development and the welfare of a fisher folk, I think they should take a leadership role in that regard. I had conversation with Minister Young on this matter as it relates to organizing sessions for the IOPC to assist the fisheries officers of the Tobago House of Assembly.
Right.
Of course, that's not my responsibility, but I think it will work out well for the Tobago House of Assembly and for fisher folk, and do some sort of training sessions to help our fisher folk navigate. But Natalie, that assistance to the fisher folk should not be limited to the IOPC, because the IOPC processing takes time.
Right.
And that's what the $50 million was all about.
Right.
Making sure that these people stay afloat, they have food to eat, they can send their children to school. You can't talk all that talk last year saying that you're waiting on the money to come and so on last year. And when you received the money, you did not support the fisher folk, and now you're coming a whole year later. Today is February 7th. Am I right?
Yes.
Is it February 7th?
Yes, it
Let's
is.
double
It
check.
is.
It's
It
February
is.
7th. It marks exactly 1 year since the oil spill happened, because the oil spill happened on February 7th last year. You're trying to tell these fisher folk that they had to wait a year. What happened during the year? And after you receive this $50 million in June, you expect them to just stand there waiting for IOPC from June to February? These are grassroots people.
Right, and I know that the chief sec would have had media briefings explaining how the money was disbursed. I'm not sure if it's the full 50 million. Those of you who are keeping abreast of it, you would know. But I know there was a detailed account of what monies and the amount that were issued to the association. And I understand that some of the contention may be individual fisher folk who may not be registered under the association as well, and other things. So I know there was something in the public domain for that to be sorted out, and for persons to, I guess, exercise due diligence in ensuring that maybe they are registered or however they are supposed to be. But I know that, and again, I'm just giving a little snippet. There may have been other things out there, but I'm aware of that particular briefing where an account was made for that, So, but my thing is, at the end of the day, we the people, it doesn't matter who has jurisdiction or in charge, but in terms of you using your position, as you mentioned, to help others. And you did say you see nothing wrong with your constituency offering, though it may be limited, trying to assist.
Natalie, I want to add, this also boils down to a matter of priority.
Right.
Upon receiving the $50 million, the THA had the liberty in prioritizing which areas were most important to pay and which areas can wait on IOPC or some other type of relief. So in receiving this money, I think the fisher folk should have been priority in providing some kind of relief to keep them afloat. In addition to that, in the May 25th Newsday report of last year, which quoted the Chief Secretary as saying that he has established a committee to do the assessment of the claims made by fishermen.
Right.
That means that they would have been going through these claims since last year, May or June. So
Right.
what happened over this time? So accessing the IOPC funds, it's one thing. A matter of fact, the last information I had was that the IOPC had gotten through with assessing about $4.6 million in claims made to the IOPC by the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and had agreed to pay $2.2 million, which is roughly a little under half of what was submitted. So it's not that every cent spent we are going to get back. And just as the Tobago House of Assembly had incurred expenses, the central government, through Heritage, through Ministry of Energy, through Ministry of Works, have also incurred expenses that we are seeking refurbishment. So at the end of the day, it's about all of us employing our resources, our time and our talent to assist the people of Tobago and the fisher folk, but that does not mean that the Tobago House of Assembly should abdicate its responsibility to promote and secure the welfare of these grassroots people who have been living on little to nothing from last year, February to date.
Right. And of course, viewers, with those words, we take a quick break and I encourage you to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
So guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago. So it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 GB fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Spring. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
Good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise.
Thank you, viewers, for staying with us. We continue to have an awesome conversation with MP for Tobago West and Minister in Sport and Community Development. I know many of you are sharing the live. We appreciate it. It's always awesome to know that you on the other side and you are part of the Tobago Updates family. So thank you again. Now, Minister, I want to talk about your ministerial portfolio again in terms of sport and ComDev, the marrying of those two areas as opposed to what it was prior, sport youth. Do you see a big difference, how is that, sport and ComDev union working out?
I think it's a big difference compared to what existed before we merged sport and community development in 2020. Prior to that, much of the focus had been on providing support directly to elite athletes and to national governing bodies. There was very little attention paid to sport at the community level and
Right.
providing support to the grassroots sport. It's not always about medals. I like to say sport excellence is about more than medals. It's about utilizing sport as a unifier to build community engagement and promote community spirit to foster social inclusion, to help to build young entrepreneurs within your community, and also to find new talent. And what we have done in marrying Ministry of Sport with the community development portfolio is utilize sport as a tool for community empowerment and for building peace
Right.
throughout our community. So you would see much more support going to community groups, also to up and coming athletes who are not elite athletes, because you have to start somewhere.
Yes.
So down to the parent who has a little child in school sport who feel like they need some sort of support, we offer support to them too once they apply, and they do so in time and they submitted a full application. So we have directed a lot of our efforts to training coaches, administrators at the grassroots level so that they can run their business at the community level. Back when we were much younger in our communities, our village councils and even our schools had these weekend programs that on Saturday you went to tennis class or you went to football down on the field and so on. And that has changed over the years. And there are persons who cannot afford to send to the more private uppity classes.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's about granting access and ensuring affordability for those who can't afford it on their own, even changing the culture where in some families they think that sport is for the children who are not academically inclined or it's not a part of life. I think if mommy and daddy is are working out, then the children are more likely to work out and to
Yes.
partake in sport too. So it's about a sport for all program, whether it is actual physical activity or even sport that deal with your mind, whether it's playing chess, all fours. We want
Yes.
everybody to get involved in something. So you have programs like Shaping Communities, where we do April pools. We work with the different pool facilities in Trinidad, the public pool facilities, of which we have built 5 new ones. And in Tobago, we work with the YMCA in providing classes to the general public, to seniors, and so on. You have the sport camps that we do in Tobago and in Trinidad too. And in Tobago, we do so in collaboration with the Tobago House of Assembly. Sometimes they don't like to acknowledge that, but we do cooperate and collaborate on a number of programs. And we have been doing that and bringing sport closer and closer to home and encouraging people to take up sport as a part of their life.
You mentioned the importance or the culture we have of thinking if you're not academically inclined, and I don't like that expression, but I'll use it because people understand what we mean by that. You go to sport, but you see in some of our schools where there are strong sporting programs, the athletes who are the star athletes tend to get away from sometimes going to class and, you know, that kind of pervasive attitude. And then you have this person with this talent who now has to fit in somewhere, some other part of the world where it's totally opposite. If you are on our team representing our school, you have to make the grades. How do you get educators, coaches, people who run sports club to understand the importance of also encouraging their strong athletes to sit and put in the hours behind their schoolwork?
It's all about conversation and being deliberate about promoting that culture. Through the I Choose Sport program, we have our officers that go around to schools and communities having the conversations and working with principals and teachers and so on to get the job done. You also have podcasts and so on. We have the Pink Rain campaign done both in Tobago and in Trinidad, where we train women and girls for sport. It's about keeping that topic at the forefront and showing examples of how it works. Also promoting that the better student is a student athlete because they are trained in managing time, in networking, in learning how to win, in learning how to lose gracefully, you know, and that's what sport development is really all about, and we drive that campaign of changing the attitudes, changing the narrative, changing
Right.
the culture as it relates to sport development and how people look at sport.
And of course, no matter how much a ministry, MP does, there's always a cry to do more.
Yes.
Every time there's a major athletic event, you hear of some athletes saying, I didn't get this, or the ministry promised this. How do you work through that, and what really goes on? Because you always hear it. So those of us in the public, of course, if that story is louder than the others, that's the story we go on. It's always asked, when our athletes go and represent us, we feel proud, but the support seems not to be there to help them get to that stage.
I think that there is no perfect situation, but I can say clearly and with confidence that we have a solid grant funding program in the Ministry of Sport and Community Development. And if you don't like what we're doing in Ministry of Sport and Community Development, the people in Tobago have the Tobago House of Assembly Division of Sport. They have the Lalon Gordon Fund and similar grants offered by the Tobago House of Assembly. But let me speak for my portfolio in the Ministry of Sport and Community Development. We have a transparent process where the applications are provided online. We can go on, you can see the guidelines, you can see the rules. You have to get to the place of operating sport as a business. You can't come 2 weeks before your event to ask for support.
Right.
You have to follow the guidelines because this is public funding. You have to look at the rules and regulations set out for the public service and for managing public funds. So you have to have your quotations. You have to submit your application. You have to do so on time. You have to allow the grants committee to deliberate. And when they reach out to you for a document or so, make sure and submit. So we have a 3-month stipulation, like you have to apply 3 months before your event. If it's something where you're taking the youngsters overseas, you have to show that you have their visas and the travel documents and sufficient adults to help to manage the youngsters and so on. So some people may not like those rules. Some people like recently, right here from Tobago, we had somebody who applied in October to travel to take, I think it's a football team, out to the US in January.
Right.
And he did not submit his application until about October, and it was an incomplete application. Up to January, 2 weeks before traveling, he did not have the visas and so on for the youngsters. So the grants committee cannot give you X funding or cannot assess your application and you don't have all the items in. We have to account to the Auditor General. We have to account, so we have to cover our tails too.
Right.
So some people may be upset for something like that, but we have rules to follow, because when you're caught wanting or you don't have a document when the Auditor General comes through, there's nobody calling the radio to say, oh no, she was a good girl, she helped us all. There's nobody defending the minister. Everybody would be quick to call you a thief or to say that you were doing something untoward. So we have to safeguard our public servants and we have to safeguard the reputation of the ministry. And all we simply ask is for people to apply on time, submit your quotations, and we will do our very best to provide
and I
support
think
to you.
even parents, we have that responsibility to ensure that these groups who are taking our children out, exercise due diligence, ask the questions, ask to see the email, where's the approval for this? Because sometimes you may be misguided, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally, but someone is taking your child away from you for a period. So ensure things are put in place, ask questions, demand answers. And, if you get a sense of something is awry, you have that right to, let your child stay with you. Because I think it happens too often. And you always hear a story and it's always a blame game, whether the group is blaming central government, a ministry, a department, THA. And when you get to the bottom of it, oftentimes it's because a process was not followed.
I think a lot of times when we talk about sport development in that regard, we look particularly at funding. Whilst funding is an issue, you see providing access to facilities and everybody in the network or in the ecosystem making sure that they do their part.
Right.
That's important. So, for instance, in Tobago, the Dwight York Stadium, which would have been a major topic over the last couple weeks, is now under refurbishment. Now, we can't play at the stadium whilst we refurbish it.
Right.
Especially, we could try to work around the contractors, which we are doing now. But there was much crying out when in the month of January, we had the plumbing going on. And if you have no water at the facility, it would be unsafe for us to open the facility to the public. So it was closed on December 24th so that we can do works, and it would be fully opened again in April. However, in the meantime, we have different packages of works happening over the month of January, February, March. In January, we couldn't allow any playing at the facility at all because the plumbing works, we were out of water primarily for the month of January. And now we are, as of last week, February 3rd, we got clearance from UDCOT. Well, okay, this is a rest day for the contractor. We can work around here, work around there to get some activities in. It's a booking system as for every other national stadium that you apply through Sport TT, and we would then sit with UDCOT and see how can we facilitate different entities. However, we must remember that in Tobago, it's not only the Dwight York Stadium. You have the different recreational grounds and playing fields throughout Tobago, which is under the responsibility of the Tobago House of Assembly. And I know that the Tobago House of Assembly had started a refurbishment program of refurbishing these fields and recreational spaces. So I trust that they have done or are doing their part so that athletes would utilize their many options. But for right now, Dwight York Stadium is under refurbishment. We can't want a top class facility, but you're not giving us the time to actually do the work. And it's not, the timing is not solely dependent on us because you have to do the tendering process, you have to do the procurement process, and you have to get contractors who are willing and able to do the work. Yeah, so that's where we're at, and we are now facilitating some of the groups. Well, the only applications we had on hand were from the NTAs, and we got clearance to go ahead with the NTAs. We don't have, to my knowledge, up to earlier this week, we don't have any other applications before us, so there's nothing else to meet with the with UDCOT about. But when we do, we would meet and see how we can work around. We intend to also do some track replacement for Dwight York Stadium later in these years. There's so many different areas. Private sector needs to step up and providing support to some of these groups and these athletes also.
Of course. And I want us to switch gears and go back to you, Sham, for the individual, because you share how heavy this workload is, and you mentioned having to have the energy. What do you do to find a balance? Because it's not just Sham for the MP, but you're a Sham for a sibling, a daughter, you know, you're an auntie, you're a wife. You have so many other roles you play in your life. Where and how do you find the balance?
Well, I've been doing this for quite some time, and the back and forth between Trinidad and Tobago, it's a lot. It's a lot, but I think I've learned to manage it properly, spending the time in the constituency, spending the time at the ministry, and finding time to spend with family, because at the end of it all, we are just ministers and MPs for a short while. Your family would always be there. I've recognized over the years, I've missed a lot in the family. Like, you bounce upon some youngsters and like, how did you get so tall? When did this happen? And you miss the important events, the birthdays, the school activities, the performances for their cultural and sporting activities. But it's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice and a labor of love. And it comes with the territory. So I won't say, there's no politician who could tell me that they have found the perfect balance. Because you may get up this morning with plans to do something for yourself, and you may be called to help somebody else or to do something. And that's what it is, public service, extending yourself to the people. And I take pride in doing what I do because I see the people of Tobago as my family too. I would not be holding a bachelor's degree and a master's degree and have exposure, the kind of exposure that I have and the experiences that I've had, if it weren't for the village, if it weren't for Bethel Village, Mason Hall Village, the different communities and the people in Tobago who made sure that I didn't go astray, who warned me. Even right now, as I walk from house to house, people offering advice to you. So I feel like I truly belong to them, and they have elected me to be a tool, to be a support for them. And the most important thing is making sure that your family also understands that. And my husband understands that. I'm thankful for a man like him. He is amazing. I couldn't ask for anything better. He totally understands. He's a solid support system. It's also building the team around you. So the staff in your constituency office and the ministry, your personal staff, have to be solid to fill the gaps for you. Like today, I have 2 events clashing at 10 o'clock, and there will be somebody filling in for me at one of the events. But
Right.
nobody could fill in for you as MP.
Yes.
When the people come to see you at their office, they came to see you.
Definitely.
They didn't come to see anybody else. So you have to make sure that you're available.
Right, thank you. And viewers, we go for a quick break. So share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Thank you, viewers, for staying with us, and welcome back. We just have a few more minutes with the minister before she heads on and continues her very busy day. And I'm bringing it back home to Tobago. We know that we are on the cusp of a national election, and to follow that would be THA election. Your role in terms of the PNM Tobago, and you hear all sorts of things on the ground. And one of the things, the conversations I'm hearing is that if you are offered to be chief secretary, if the PNM wins the THA election, would that be something you would consider?
I think at the end of the day, it's about knowing what you want. I have presented myself as a candidate for the upcoming general election to serve the people of Tobago West. And that is what I'm going to do. Once I win my seat, I am going to serve the people of Tobago West in the central government, in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. If I know I had my eyes set on being chief secretary at this point in time, then I wouldn't have offered myself at this point. I think we have a solid leader in Tobago in Mr. Ansel Dennis. I think he has been doing the work over the years as it relates to rebuilding, restructuring, redirecting the People's National Movement. And the people of Tobago, when that time comes, they will choose who they want to be their respective representatives in their areas and who they will make chief secretary. So I have every confidence in our team here in the Tobago Council of the People's National Movement. I've presented myself for MP for Tobago West, and that's what I'm running for at this time, and that is where I will serve for the next 5 years, God's willing.
And do you think there's a time frame or a specific point where one should say, okay, this is enough, I can do more, let me allow someone else to move in?
I think, of course, you see, even the Prime Minister has walked away during a term, and that has never happened before in this country. I think that you know yourself, you know your strength. And it's not only about you, though, because sometimes you may have the strength and the willingness to keep going, but the people don't want you anymore.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's democracy, and it's for the people, by the people. So we can't get our egos too big and our heads too swollen. You have to listen to what the ground is saying, listen to what the people are saying, and they would eventually choose who they want. And if they don't want you, they would let you know.
Right.
So at the end of the day, politics is a very tricky thing. Sometimes you can get carried away in your own head that, oh, the people want you and you want to be leader forever. In being a servant leader, you recognize, you know, I know, I'm here for just a time. I'm here at the behest of the people of Tobago, specifically the people of Tobago West. And while I am here, even if it's for one day, I'll do all within my power to serve them, to represent them, and to deliver to them with distinction. When they no longer want me, I'm very sure they'll let me know.
Right.
And if I run out of steam, I let them know.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah,
All right.
most definitely. It's so important, again, you know, as you mentioned, the importance of your walkabouts, staying in touch with your constituency and understanding what is needed, what they need from you, and what you need to do. And at this time, I would, of course, allow you, you know, to just talk to your constituents at this time and the rest of the viewership. Yes.
Thank you, Natalie. First and foremost, I want to say to the people of Tobago, thank you. Over the years, it has been a very fulfilling and rewarding experience to represent you. I serve a really, really good people, a reasonable people. I wouldn't choose any other constituency in the nation to represent. As I go from door to door, the support is solid and the love is real. We face a different time in politics. It gets more and more difficult every time you face the polls. And right now what you have is a lot of misinformation, very deliberate misinformation from those in authority, telling the people a whole lot of lies deliberately and changing around the narrative, and just because they know people are not out there reading and doing their own research, they say just about any and everything to them, and it's all driven by emotion. Sometimes I hear some things that I would have said by the time the TPP and those opposites say their version of it, it is something totally different. And it's not right, because it doesn't help democracy. In democracy, people make a decision based on the information available to them. And if that information is inaccurate, then it affects democracy and therefore affects the result as it relates to good governance. Let's take, for instance, there is this whole talk and this campaign built around the TPP saying that Shamfa said that Tobago is not ready for internal self-government or ready to take control of its marine resources because we don't have our own refinery. Utter foolishness, because the point that I had made is the documents that were presented to the Parliament were based on internal self-government. We did not present to the Parliament a matter of a federal system. A matter of fact, I had been a part of those conversations and consultations from very, very early, 2008, when I had returned home from school. Since then, I had been a part of the conversation. And I remember at Mason Hall, when the topic of federalism came up and the implications of federalism and what it would mean to us, we said, okay, that could be an eventual goal, but that is not what we're presenting to the Parliament right now. And what the TPP have done is they have changed the goalposts. They continue shifting the goalposts. At the point in time when they were invited to the table to speak to what they they wanted. If federalism was a part of what they wanted, they should have presented themselves to the parliament, presented yourself and your position to the Joint Select Committee, and not wait until the last day of the parliament to say you have this position and this is what your position look like. We need to have, my point is that yes, of course, the eventual goal is a federal system, but that is not what we presented at this time. And we understand that internal self-government and getting to a federal system would be an incremental process and so on. And therefore, we need to have the conversation about what are the implications of federalism, what it would mean for us. How are we going to get there step by step as to how we are going to get there and what it would mean for us in the meantime. And who did they have conversation with as it relates to agreeing that we want a federal system? Right now, a federal system means that every pot sits on its own bottom, every state sits on its own resources and all that it has made and so on. As I always say, that is why New York is rich and Mississippi is poor. That is why California is rich and Alabama is poor, even though they are part of a same federal country, you know. So at the end of the day, I'm not saying that Tobagonians are not ready for a federal system. I'm saying what was presented to the parliament was not a federal system. And if that has changed, we need to have the conversation about what this would mean to all of us as Tobagonians, what it would mean for us socially, what it would mean for us economically. And if we are talking about separating the seas, we already know what that means based on the advice from the international luminaries and so on. We know what that means. So have we had that conversation as to exactly where the boundary would be and what would be our oil and gas field and what would be theirs? We haven't had that conversation. We have not done that research, and we have not had a conversation with Tobagonians about this federal system that they have proposed and exactly what it would mean. They keep on promising to do consultations and educate the Tobago public since last year and year before last year, and I have not seen one consultation with the public held by the TPP about this whole matter of internal self-government. They are going around saying this is what Tobagonians want. Who did you talk to? And what are the implications? Let's see what you're proposing. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? And what will that mean to us? I think that what the TPP is striving on is this war that they have created, or they are trying to tell the people there's this war between central government and the Tobago House of Assembly, so that is why they can't deliver on their promises, and that is why they can't develop and serve Tobago. So when it was time to speak up for internal self-government and to say what you found wrong with the bill and where you want to go, they did not come to the fore, because if they came to the fore and got to some place of agreement, there would be nothing to fight about. There would be nothing to campaign about. And their campaign is a campaign of war, a campaign of hatred, a campaign of we against them, a campaign of central government suffering us. And that is totally untrue. So it works in their political favor to ride the emotions and to abuse and disrespect the intellect of Tobagonians by saying that Trinidad is fighting us and not trying to cooperate and not trying to unite and not trying to get over the hurdles. Look, for instance, the whole Scarborough Sec matter that could have been resolved in a meeting between the Tobago House of Assembly and the central government. But no, you have up to last week the Minister of Education still trying to reach out to the Secretary of Education. Where is the user brief? What's happening? And she's saying, okay, I'll provide to you an informal user brief, but the Chief Secretary would talk to the Minister of Finance. You turned sad for Scarborough Sec since last year, and you have not provided a user brief to the central government up to this year. That is crazy. But it doesn't work in their favor to cooperate or to try to conduct the business of Tobagonians in a peaceful matter, because their campaign is one of hatred, one of a we and them kind of separation type of thing, so that Tobagonians would feel like they are victims and somebody abusing them. You were in opposition. Now you are in power. You are leading the Tobago House of Assembly, responsible for the development and the welfare of Tobagonians. And when you are in power for a day, you lead, you develop, you provide direction, and you deliver on the promises that you have made, not stand in a corner prioritizing what you want to prioritize and then saying on all the other matters, well, central government didn't give us any money. Well, how did you find money to build the roundabout and the road to nowhere? How did you find that money? You are prioritizing what you want, and what you have not made a priority, where you have caused the people of Tobago to suffer. You're saying the central government suffering you. And that is what their campaign is based on. When you look at all that they are promoting, this is a campaign of hate, and a campaign that is totally abusing the emotions and the intellect of the Tobagoanians. And I would ask Tobagoanians to do your research, to read, to ask questions, to listen to all sides of the divide. You're big and you have sense. At the end of the day, it's all about your development. We are just politicians. We're just passing through. But all that we do have to redound to the benefit of you, no matter who's in power. You can't cry out for abuse when PNM in power, but you're taking abuse under TPP. It's not fair. We're being hypocrites if we do that.
And of course, viewers, this is just the minister in an interview in studio. She's not on the campaign trail, but you hear her. And of course, I know that many of you who joined this morning, you are bigging up your MP, your minister. And I just want to mention some of the viewers' names. Former Assemblyman Marcelin Melville Jack. We have Ayana J. Strim. We have Tonya Lee Williams. And there are others, of course, giving you high commendations for the work that you continue to do. And of course, we want to thank you all as well who dropped comments and stopped by for viewing Tobago updates. This is all the time we have now. It's Friday. I encourage you to be safe. Look out for someone, not just be about your business, but remember you live in a community. You are part of a community, and let us make this beautiful island, what it should be. So until the next time we meet again right here on Tobago Updates, be safe and do have an awesome weekend.
People strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power. We are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers. We are melanated one.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.